Hi, and welcome to an online content webcast for kindergarten. The webcast is intended to provide kindergarten teachers and those who support them in the classroom with background information as a foundation on the intended standards being addressed specifically in this presentation. This webcast will focus on several kindergarten standards, beginning with the History Standard for American Symbols. Notice the verb in this standard, identify. Identify the national and state flags, identify the Pledge of Allegiance, identify the Star-Spangled Banner. In this webcast, we'll discuss how these standards relate to the culture that we live in, discussing how people think, act, celebrate, and this is what makes a group of people special. This standard allows for students to make connections to their communities of the classroom, the school, and their home and family as a special group of people that are more easily understood by young learners, and then to make the connection of being a part of a special group of people in our state and in our country by identifying each specific flag. The slide shows the national flag of the United States of America. It consists of 13 equal horizontal red stripes from top and bottom, alternating with white, with the blue rectangle, referred to as the Union, bearing 50 small white 5-pointed stars. The 50 stars of the flag represent the 50 states of the United States of America, and the 13 stripes represent the 13 British colonies, becoming the first states in the United States. Nicknames for the flag included on the speech bubbles are sometimes used when speaking of the national flag: the Stars and Stripes, Old Glory, and the Star-Spangled Banner. The learning target for this standard for students is I can identify or find the national flag of the United States. Some things change over time, and both the national and state flags are a good example of this theme that connects to students' understanding of identifying them in photographs and in their community. The current flag of the state of Georgia was adopted on May 8, 2003. The flag has 3 stripes consisting of red, white, red, and a blue canton containing a ring of 13 white stars surrounding the state's coat of arms in gold. In the coat of arms, the arc symbolizes the state's constitution, and the pillars represent the 3 branches of government: legislative, executive, and judicial. The words of the state motto, wisdom, justice, and moderation, are wrapped around the pillars, guarded by a male figure dressed in colonial dress dating back to the time of the American Revolutionary War. Within the arms, a sword is drawn to represent the defense of the state's constitution. An additional motto, "In God We Trust," is underneath, acting as the state's foundation. The ring of stars that are around the state's coat of arms symbolize Georgia's status as one of the original 13 colonies. The design principle is based on the first national flag of the Confederacy, which was nicknamed the Stars and Bars. The learning target for this element for students is I can identify or find the Georgia state flag. These images may be used to discuss places students may see the national flag. Teachers may discuss with students ways to honor our flag is by saying the Pledge of Allegiance and by singing the Star-Spangled Banner as the national anthem. Both of these elements, the Pledge of Allegiance and the Star-Spangled Banner, are included in the history standard of identifying the American symbols. The following slide will also be an opportunity to teach students the character traits in civics and government standards by showing respect, pride, self-control, and patriotism when they hear the Star-Spangled Banner and the Pledge of Allegiance when they're at school, but also in other places in their community. Notice that the verb in this standard is expecting students to be able to describe. This requires students to be orally communicating and using the language of these standards, such as I am being a good citizen when I stop to pledge the flag, or I'm showing patriotism when we say the Pledge of Allegiance. The center chart in this slide is an example used in a classroom that has a visual support for young students to show respect for the flag each morning as the school day begins. Teachers may also use the images and photographs to integrate the terms of now and long ago or past and present as students compare what they notice and observe in each image. Again, the character traits of good citizens may also be reinforced using these photographs and also be an opportunity for students to describe or have conversations about good citizenship. Remember, the standard is to describe, so this is what teachers should be listening for with students when they're determining their understanding of the standard. With young learners, there has to be a point of reference of where they are in the world, most thinking their world is the only place where they are. In order to do this, we have to ensure students know they're in a culture of where they live, specifically in their community, their state, and country, in order to support instruction with the kindergarten standards. Specifically, students are introduced to cardinal directions on a compass rose in the Georgia Standards of Excellence using the Map and Globe Skills Matrix. This slide shows an example of a U.S. map painted in a hallway of a school that serves as a visible reminder to students of the location of the state of Georgia and also the United States of America and where the United States is located on the globe. These maps will be a way to emphasize the geography standard in differentiating land and water in relation to their place in the world, as well as how maps and globes show a view from above and in a smaller size. The standard of identifying the American flag is easier for young learners to make a connection with if they are often seeing and discussing where the United States is located and then see it on a map and or a globe that represents our nation. Students will be able to make comparisons of the Georgia state flag and the American flag when seeing images of both and identifying how they are alike and how they're different. The map of Georgia may be used in the location of your school in relation to other towns that are indicated on the map. This reinforces the use of the map and the Globe Skills Matrix for introducing the compass rose. Students will make the connection between their state on the map and that of the Georgia flag image. Photographs from your community may be included to show examples of places students may see the Georgia flag and the American flag. Again, the learning target, I can find places we see Georgia state flags. This geography standard integrates nicely with the previous standards as students are identifying and describing the Georgia state flag and the American flag. Students should be allowed many opportunities to talk about images of both flags and places they see them in the community. They're able to make the connection of the Georgia state flag and the United States flag, leading into a deeper study of their place in the world as the focus is narrowed down to their city and then to their street address. This slide cites an article in a 2008 Social Studies in the Young Learner magazine, volume 21, that's published by the National Council for the Social Studies. The link is provided for further reading. In it, the author states that in many classrooms, the traditional roll-down maps of the 20th century have been replaced by ceiling-mounted projectors and Google Earth bookmarks on teachers' classroom computers. However, neither roll-down maps nor projected images are easily accessible to young children. Fortunately, many governmental departments and nonprofit organizations will send teachers classroom sets of maps if requested. Many school districts or county offices and community centers have maps of the local areas that are available for teachers if requested. Children are fascinated with them because of the real-world connections. They want to find the street where they live or the street where their school is and trace routes to the familiar destinations. Notice the use of wall maps in a kindergarten classroom in the center as a teacher labels places the class has traveled with Skype sessions, including a map of the United States and a world map. Other photos include papier-mâché globes created by these students as they replicated the globe in the classroom. Students are eager to explore maps when given opportunities, and this leads to a deeper understanding to their place in the world and geographic understandings as a young learner. As an introduction to the United States history in kindergarten, students must make the connection to our country and our state. These are examples of hallway displays again in a school where students pass by frequently and also take school field trips to study their place in the world. In the GSE standards on the Map and Globe Skills Matrix, kindergartners are introduced to the use of a compass rose and using cardinal directions. This skill is then mastered in first grade using cardinal directions, where students are also being introduced to the intermediate directions. One of the information processing standards for kindergarten and first grade is to compare similarities and differences. These maps serve as a visible teaching tool for students to make those comparisons. If requested, many large department stores, malls, zoos, museums, and also your local Chamber of Commerce will provide maps for free. Students' easy access to such resources allows a teacher to present a new selection of maps to enhance almost any social studies topic. When given the chance, the young children will spend free time examining these representations of real and imaginary places and talk about their real and imaginary adventures and what the maps represent to them. This enables any teacher to provide maps as a hands-on learning tool for students. Again, going back to the article from the National Council of Social Studies, this is a wonderful resource. Thank you for viewing the online content webcast for kindergarten. It's intended to provide kindergarten teachers and those who support them in the classroom with background information as a foundation on these specific standards addressed in this presentation.